Through the blinding dust of Kurukshetra stands a warrior who cannot be killed in combat. He commands absolute power on the battlefield, protected by a divine boon known as Iccha Mrityu, the ability to decide the exact moment of his own death. Yet this invincible figure fights for a regime he actively despises. He knows with absolute certainty that the Kaurava army he leads represents tyranny and corruption, while the Pandavas across the battlefield stand for righteousness. In his personal life, he is a man of unmatched wisdom, purity, and spiritual devotion. But on the blood-soaked earth, he acts as the single greatest physical barrier preventing the triumph of good. If he knew exactly what was right, why did he side with the wrong? A terrifying personal vow forged a trap that stripped him of his own free will, forcing one of history's most righteous men to lead the ranks of the unrighteous. Long before the war, his name was Devavrata. He was the crown prince of Hastinapur until his father, King Shantanu, wished to marry a fisherwoman named Satyavati. Satyavati's family demanded that only her bloodline inherit the throne. To secure his father's happiness, Devavrata made two immense sacrifices. He renounced his claim to the crown entirely and swore an absolute oath of lifelong celibacy to ensure he would never produce a rival heir. The severity of this vow shook the heavens. The gods themselves renamed him Bhishma, meaning the fierce one, and granted him the boon that he could only die by his own choice. This loyalty structure created a state of Dharma Sankat, or moral crisis. Notice the three distinct nodes: his own personal morality, the person sitting on the throne as the ruler, and the massive central pillar representing the physical throne of Hastinapur. Bhishma's vow of protection was sworn strictly to that physical throne, regardless of who occupied it. When the ruler node turns corrupt and red, the rigid line of his duty, his Rajdharma, bypasses it completely to connect directly to the state. His personal sense of right and wrong is cleanly disconnected from his sworn obligation. Because of this structure, his immense personal virtue became his own prison. He was bound to protect an evil king, held hostage by the sheer force of his own integrity. Bhishma was fatally loyal to a technicality. By adhering strictly to the letter of his vow, he was forced to defend a system he knew was doomed to fall. A hidden supernatural layer defined his long life. Bhishma was originally one of 8 celestial beings called the Vasus, who were cursed by the sage Vashishta to be born as mortals. The other 7 Vasus were liberated from their mortal bodies immediately upon birth, but as the primary instigator of their offense, Devavrata was condemned to a long, agonizing human existence, bearing the weight of a decaying empire. Despite his invincibility in combat, this karmic sentence carried a specific loophole. Along with his vows of celibacy and loyalty, Bhishma maintained an absolute code. He would never raise his weapon against a woman. Amba, a princess whose life was ruined by Bhishma's adherence to his vows, reincarnated as the warrior Shikhandi, specifically to exploit this code. On the 10th day of the war, Arjuna positioned Shikhandi directly in front of his chariot as a human shield. True to his word, Bhishma lowered his bow. With the invincible commander unarmed, Arjuna fired a barrage of arrows, bringing him down. No army could defeat Bhishma through brute strength alone. His destruction was a precise karmic execution, turning his own unbreakable rules into the weapons that shattered him. Pinned to the earth on a bed of arrows, Bhishma's physical battle is over. Yet he does not pass away. His divine boon keeps him breathing, suspended in agony between life and death. He remains in this state for 58 days, waiting for the sun to move into the Uttarayan phase, the auspicious time he finally chooses to depart the physical world. These final 58 days cement his legacy as a teacher. He imparts the massive discourses on statecraft and morality that form the Shanti and Anushasana Parvas, shifting from a fallen warrior to the ultimate sage of the epic. Bleeding on the battlefield he helped create, he articulates his final realization. His unyielding attachment to a single promise had blinded him to the greater suffering of the kingdom. Keeping a vow means nothing if the ultimate purpose of that vow does not serve a righteous cause. Bhishma Pitamah stands as a profound warning. His life illustrates how blind duty, when separated from an active moral conscience, can transform even the greatest heroes into instruments of destruction.